Back in late 2023 and early 2024, before we ever reached financial collapse, my husband and I were already beginning to see serious red flags, patterns and disclosures, outcomes and statements that didn't align with what we had relied on when we invested. At that time, we considered pursuing arbitration. We reviewed our contract and the Minnesota addendum in our 2021 franchise disclosure document. The arbitration clause stated that the arbitration would take place in a state outside of Minnesota, and that the cost would be borne by the non-prevailing party. For us, that meant travel, lodging, extended time out of state, and a major financial risk. And at that time, we decided not to pursue arbitration because of those barriers. When we reached the collapse point in April 2025 and requested our exit call with the brand president, Heidi Morrissey, we went back to that very same clause, and the effect was still the same. It appeared that the only path forward was an out-of-state arbitration process that we could not reasonably afford. Only recently, after continuing our document review, we learned something very important. Under the Minnesota Franchise Act, franchisors are required to preserve the Minnesota venue protection, and the Minnesota addendum is supposed to explicitly state that Minnesota franchisees cannot be requested to litigate or arbitrate outside of the state, and that the contractual language cannot reduce any rights provided under the Minnesota law. In the 2020 FDD, Kitchen Tune-Up included that protective language clearly. But in 2021 FDD, the version that we purchased under, the language was changed and rewritten in a way that no longer clearly preserves the Minnesota venue protection. And that wording materially influenced our decision not to pursue arbitration at an early stage. I'm going to display both clauses in the screen, one from the 2020 FDD and one from the 2021 FDD, so the viewers can pause and read them for themselves. This isn't about intent or interpretation. These are simple facts about how the language changed and how that the wording impacted when and how we were able to seek remedies as a Minnesota franchisees.